my god, PewDiePie ripped! PewDiePie so strong! This has basically been all over any form of social media. Oh my god! So that's what we're gonna do today.
Excellent, but the real question is he natty or not? And is it photoshopped?
Look at those traps.
People are genuinely asking that question in the world of YouTube. However, this video on the topic started with a 4-minute promotion of a massage machine. Does it do the scalp also? Hand and wrist exercises for gamers. I am not clicking on that.
They sip on BCAAs as if it's some magical gym potion.
Introducing famous gamer Censor, now known as Censor. He grew out of that phase. Now a Gymshark person and makes fitness content. Kylie Muscle made the reverse journey from fitness to gaming. I'm not sure that the gaming world understands the hilarity that has entered their world.
What sound goat made?
And so I got this comment a few months ago and I said this. I didn't make the video back then. I am as reliable as the statement. I'll be there in 5 minutes. And so let me introduce you to the world of gaming. Insane graphics from Double Dragon. GoldenEye N64, Mario Kart's blowing on the cartridges because the game stopped working, the amazing technology of 4 controllers, all of that, Football Manager, unbeaten season, no big deal, to the modern world of gaming that I have no idea about, where people play online and in tournaments and make money from it. But the common denominator for gamers, regardless of what their game is it can be very sedentary as it requires a lot of sitting down, and the importance of an exercise routine is absolutely vital. And so some of you will like these gamers, some of you will like PewDiePie, subscribe to PewDiePie, some of you may not. It doesn't really matter in terms of the message of this video. And so it's fantastic to see gamers promoting health and fitness. I will include exercise science in this video where I talk about training to failure and also a push-pull leg split. And I'm not making any KSI jokes at all. I'm not sure if he is actually classified as a gamer. He does some gaming on his channel. He's certainly not a fighter. Okay, some jokes.
They made the thumbnail, not me. Relax.
The fun we had back then, the fond memories. The guy has made $1 gazillion from making YouTube videos. Trust me, he's good. Sidemen weight gain video, 48 minutes. Didn't watch it.
It is who can gain the most weight in 24 hours.
But like any good book, I skipped to the end and he gained 3.3 kilograms in 24 hours. I would not want to share a bathroom with them the day after. And I want to thank you for the comments under the Kevin Hart video. Some really amazing comments from people who'd suffered injury and who had come back and how they overcame them. And as always, much appreciated witty jokes. Back to Censor, real name made this video during the lockdown. He did not use the word belly fat, fair play to him. And so I'm going to leave him alone because I spent all my Gymshark budget recently. But very quickly.
Today, I'm with David. I'm with David's friend, Dylan. Dylan. Your name's not Dylan? Dylan. Yeah, Dylan it is. Oh my god,
I thought they were all called David too. Easy mistake to make.
Dude, I suck so bad with names. But I was like 95%.
The way to remember them is this guy's the natty one. Arm wrestling with David Lade, that is not a level playing field. Someone call USADA. It's all harmless fun, don't worry. And so I don't know what's funnier to me. This lady who manages to use this pose in this thumbnail for an arm workout, or the fact that the video is sponsored by the National Pork Board. I'm just going to leave that with you. My girlfriend shaves my head bald. Respect. He's good. He's good. I take back all those jokes. Yep, that's how we look in all pictures, mate, all the time. But seriously, this message should be applauded.
I'm a professional gamer that enjoys working out, and I do my best to inspire as many people as I can to follow their dreams.
And it's at the heart of this video. You may be a gamer, you may have a job which involves much sitting down, but enjoying working out, and as simple as his phrase is, ties nicely into my last video also, and this projection that I'm trying to push through this channel of what health and fitness really means within our life. And one of the jobs that does involve a lot of sitting down is a librarian, which is actually what I wanted to do, but I never got the job. I went to the interview, the sign said no talking, so I didn't.
How's it going, bros? My name is PewDiePie.
Let's start as we mean to go on. And so that was an old Rocky routine from PewDiePie made years ago. His latest videos about his workout and fitness are to be applauded as stellar work, which is more than I can say for SpaceX. Honestly, skipping leg day, Do better, SpaceX. Exciting times, perhaps. I have a list of people I do want to send to the moon, one-way ticket. And so PewDiePie recently discussed his fitness journey, and this has been a huge topic in social media, and as normal, I get to it a few weeks late. I am normally late to stories and trends. I just got a pair of trainers with lights on them. Is that still good? And people using the word shredded and ripped and jacked a lot, hence my use of the word jacked. And so from that older workout clip I showed you to what he discusses now, there are huge differences, notably the introduction of major compound barbell exercises to his routines, and also more intensity and progressive overload being discussed, as opposed to his older videos where he used a very low intensity. Fitness is a journey. We learn, we grow, and we develop. And so PewDiePie is not a fitness professional. He's not pretending to be. Some of the information he gives is a little wonky, but generally his video was very good and very decent, so this is supportive of him.
I feel like if I ever die, it's because this thing collapses on me. Half the time the screws are coming off and I have to keep screwing them in so it doesn't fall. I used to not have a whole rack with dumbbells, which would be nice. I should probably get that, but these are cheaper.
A bit judgy, but when you make over $10 million a year for making YouTube videos, the wonky bench could be upgraded.
It's garbage. It's so bad.
It looks like a room from a horror movie. Leatherface is somewhere in the rusty corner by the old boots. Spend a bit, Felix. Get some kettlebells, a power rack, a barbell. Come on. Some motivational quotes on the wall. I recommend Am I Anabolic Yet? And to put it in context, for anyone that doesn't know the PewDiePie channel, he could afford to buy the V-Shred gym and then knock it down. Video suggestion, PewDiePie?
If anything, body and soul are deeply connected, and I wanted them to match, and that's why I really wanted to start pushing myself with my workout. So this time I had a clear goal what I was getting into.
And so a clear goal, excellent and important, and now he's working without a trainer. That issue of internal discipline and consistency that I talked about in the last video is absolutely vital.
So I just needed to push myself this time, but how? I don't have a personal trainer anymore. So I sort of became my own personal trainer. I knew which workout that was needed to be done. I just didn't know how to not slack off, because it's easy to slack off when you work out on your own. It's totally possible to work out on your own, but it's always better with a trainer or a friend or with someone else.
The basics, but noting down what you have done is very important.
So I started tracking down my training. I wrote down in a journal, which you saw earlier, my reps, my sets, the weights, and how much rest time I would keep, and I would really try and push myself each time to make sure I was making progress.
And this can be, for example, for progressive overload, when you're noting down how much weight you're using for your reps and your sets. You may be noting down your rest times. You may be noting down other factors such as how you felt. If you're using an auto-regulation system such as RPE, which is slightly subjective, but how you felt in terms of how hard the weight was for your reps for that exercise, you may want to note that down, for example. And this may be important because you may need to tweak things as you move through your sessions, through your weeks of training, through your months of training. Hands up, how many people still use the old school notebook to note down?
In retrospect, I don't think that was the most important thing to do. The most important thing is to really do it until you fail. Like you can't push any longer. That should be the goal instead, but it worked out for me.
And so failure is not the goal per se. It is a more nuanced topic than that, and I'm going to get to that later in the video and explain some of the factors to consider if you want to train to failure or not.
So Mondays, I do push exercises. I do chest, heavily on chest. Everyone keeps making fun of my chest in the photo, but it looks better in person. Trust me, it's massive. I got huge titties.
No comment, I plead the fifth.
And then Tuesdays I do leg.
I'm confused as to why he doesn't skip leg day, but anyway.
Squats, deadlifts, yada yada, lunges. And then Wednesday I do pull exercises. Then Thursday I do leg again, and then Friday I finish with a mix of push and pull.
So Monday to Friday he does push, legs, pull, then he does legs, and then he does a push-pull day. But one thing that I'd like to project to you, that if you are choosing a pushing workout, you may want to think about starting with the overhead press and then moving through to the incline press and then through to the flat bench. So you're moving down at that angle. And to explain this, I'm going to reference Thibodeau.
Real powerful action that's going to build muscle are the pressing movement. And we always structure it this way. We start with the overhead work, so pressing straight over your head. Then we're going to work our way down to incline. Then we're going to work our way down to bench press. And then we can add some either decline work or some partial work to overload the muscles.
Please go to his media to see his full descriptions and for full context.
We do it as what I call an extended ramp or a multi-exercise ramp. So basically, first of all, we start the first movement, like the overhead press, and we ramp up the weight until we reach the top weight we can move with acceleration for the number of reps we selected.
And so with the pull workout, he's combined biceps because, of course, when we perform movements, we don't just have the agonist or the muscle, which is the main mover in an exercise. We also have other muscles working. For example, the antagonist muscle in an exercise opposes the agonist, opposes the main mover. And this can be for stabilization purposes. We also have synergistic muscles. So when you think about your planning, you can perform, for example, you're pulling with your biceps and you're pushing with some accessory tricep work at the end. So that's completely valid. In addition, some people may like to perform agonist-antagonist sessions, which would look like chest and back or push and pull together, which he does on Friday.
I know there's other variations of this sort of workout that are more efficient, and I'm probably going to change my workout pretty soon, but it worked out for me so far.
And so other ways of programming are not more efficient per se, but push-pull legs with a 2 times frequency is a very good way to train. So that's a very good projection that he's giving. And then over time, you can adjust the amount of weights or other tools you're using. You can change the exercises, the orders, the rest times. You may introduce drop sets, supersets. You may play with the tempo, lots of stuff, none of which is magic. They are just different tools that you may use to keep challenging your body with your exercise plan. But what I want you to remember is change equals adaptation. So Pewdiepie talks about changing up his workout, which I think is perfectly fine, but it doesn't mean he's moving to something better per se. He's just moving to something different, which can create different stressors on his body, on his muscle fibers.
Or maybe I'll leave a link to it in the description if you want to try what I did.
Because change equals adaptation. And when we think about change, it doesn't have to be huge change. You don't have to change everything. It can be small tweaks. It can be exercise variations. It can be tweaks to your reps or to your weight or to your rest times. There can be so many tweaks you can make. So when we think of change, it doesn't have to be massive. It can be a smaller increment.
You don't really lose weight while lifting weights, ironically. You have to change your diet if you want to lose body fat.
And so the real message that he's projecting here, exercise and your nutrition goes hand in hand, and that's absolutely vital.
And probably the biggest difference for me was cutting out alcohol.
Boring, just joking. But basically, even though some of his information is a little wonky, his general projection in that video is very good and very decent. And he's made a positive change to his health, which is a very good message to see from such a huge channel. What you got to say about that, T-Series?
Subscribe to Pewdiepie.
The most important thing is to really push yourself until you fail.
And so this is the real science that I want to project. When he talks about going to failure as almost being the key, that's not necessarily correct because it is a more nuanced topic than that. For example, I would suggest that a beginner, for example, performing a major compound lift would not go to failure for safety reasons mainly, but also so that they can develop their competency with the lift, their technique, and they can still overload their muscle with the weights they're using, the intensity. And so with the term failure, it's actually debated as to how we can actually define it. But here's one definition from Sampson and Gruller. And so for training to failure, there are considerations. And here's a quick, concise summary from a paper by Schoenfeld and his mate. When you think about if you're going to train to failure or not, you can think about the recovery between sessions. If you do train to failure, that can impact your recovery and how long it takes you to recover between sessions. The amount of load you are using is another consideration. Intensity, your reps and your sets. Of course, intensity with your reps and your sets can be programmed in many ways. So this is a whole mountain to explore in itself. But just putting it into a nutshell, what we can take from Schoenfeld's paper is that if you are using a heavier weight, for example, you're already creating that stress on the nervous system, that stress on the muscle fibers. So for a higher intensity, failure is not compulsory, and of course there are safety issues also. The specific exercise is another consideration. Is it a compound exercise, an isolation exercise? Schoenfeld suggests that perhaps going to failure on isolation work is more suitable, or even machines versus free weights, where on machines perhaps it's a safer way to go to failure. That's also discussed in his paper. Virtual reality fitness, where you can do cardio and imagine you're lifting weights. Gotta respect the suit, tie and name tag get up. Suspended from school for wearing Gymshark. Sounds right to me. Thank you for watching. Have a nice week. See you soon.